What's up, y'all? So somebody's about to make a move that they didn't want to make, a move that they didn't know that they were going to make, but a move that would set them free. But this move is riddled with, I guess, shame and guilt or something like that. You could have been seeing somebody for like 10 or 15 years. Um, but the thing is, you aren't happy. And there's two ways I'm seeing this. Either you have outgrown this person because this person refuses to grow anymore and is stunting your growth, or you feel guilty because this person really was all in for you, and this person was really, really holding you down, and this person really helped you, was there for you. Really, this person really has you mapped out, period, point blank, to the point where you don't even think that you could even find somebody that could master you the way he did or the way she did. But at the same time, there's so much pain and there's so much agony dealing with this. You don't want it to look like you were using this person to get where you needed to go, or anything less than. But in the daytime, whoever I'm speaking to, you're fine here. You're happy, you're laughing, you're singing. But at nighttime, you're miserable, because at nighttime, when the lights go off, that's when you face the truth to deal with yourself if you're alone, or even if you're getting into bed with that person. When nighttime comes and you just have to face what you have to face, even though they don't even know you're on the other side of the bed facing that. Well, you've gotten to the point now where it either comes down to your happiness or it comes down to your sadness. you know, um, oh my God, people can meet people that they're meant to be with on a drop of a dime. And let me say this, it doesn't matter how long you've been with the person, because a lot of people think just because they've put in time, or they have seniority, that they have that person like a job, and that's not true. A person can go out somewhere out of nowhere, even though you've been dating them 10 and 15 and 20 years, and have a outer body experience and meet the love of their life, and come back and give you your papers hot off the press, come back and give you your walking papers. I know about this. Years ago, I had an acquaintance, and she's married to her husband now, and her husband is really good to her, and her husband takes her to work sometimes and picks her up, and her husband, buys her, roses or balloons and send on the job. And every time I was around, all she ever talked about was her husband, her husband, her husband. So finally one day, because I love stories, and I asked her, I said, well, how did y'all meet? And she said that she had this baby daddy that she was dealing with or whatever. They was an item, they was a couple. But he didn't ever want to spend time with her. He didn't ever want to do nothing with her. It was always, a problem to get him to do anything or whatever. They was just there for the sake of being there, I guess, for the baby. And she said that they were going to the grocery store one day, and he was so terrible. He was so terrible. He wouldn't even come into the grocery store with her to shop. He would park the car and let her go in there and get what she needed. And she told me one day, they went to the grocery store. It was the same routine. He parked the car. She went in there and got what she needed. She said this guy was following him behind her. And finally, he came up over her and asked for her phone number and wanted to talk to her. And she said she didn't know if that was the right thing to do because her baby daddy was out in the car. She said the man persuaded her. He persuaded her. He wouldn't stop. He wouldn't turn her loose. And she said, okay. So she said she exchanged numbers with him while the baby daddy was out in the parking lot of the grocery store in the car. And she said that they exchanged numbers, and he asked where was the man at, and she told him he was out there in the parking lot in the car. And they exchanged numbers or whatever, and she said she called him. And he kept trying to persuade her to, spend a day with her. Let me show you how a woman's supposed to be treated, this and that. And she kept saying she didn't know if she should do it or not, And then finally he persuaded her to where she had a date with him. Somehow she was able to get away from him, and she went and she kicked it with him. And that was the best day of her life. They ended up getting married, and they've been married, I think, like over 20-some years now. This even had happened to me. Some of these situations, depending on where a person is or where their heart is or what they're looking for, can turn good, or it could be you thinking that the grass was greener on the other side. I had a case of someone thinking the grass was greener on the other side. In my case, I was in a relationship, I think about like 5 or 6 years or something. I try not to even think about this anymore. I was in a relationship for like about 5 or 6 years or something like that. I thought everything was good. I thought everything was cool. I was in love. I thought it was on. I thought we were a high item. I thought we were happy. We were living together. That man came home one day out of the blue, told me to get my shit basically and get the fuck out of there. I didn't understand what had happened. He had broke up with me or whatever, and told me to go on. But at this, I cried. I tried to fight for it. He didn't want it. He told me after 5 or 6 years, because I had told him I had a lot invested. He told me, you don't have anything invested. And when he told me that woke me up. If me and you could be together for that long, 5 or 6 years, and you can turn to me and say, I don't have anything invested, well then, about maybe I don't. That woke me up, so I was okay with that once he said that. I hadn't heard like that before, and it hit a different way. So he packed me up and got me out of there or whatever. But he never broke contact. He always kept calling. He always kept coming by. He always kept making sure I had what I needed, making sure I had money. He never stopped coming by, but I was done with him. But I didn't know what was going on. But the truth was, he had found somebody else. And I asked him what happened, and he told me that he was sick one day. I don't even know where I was at or what I was doing, because I still had my own place, but I stayed there most of the time. I was living there with him until I got my place, and then when I got my place, me and him would go out there and check on my place, and then I would always come back home with him. So I lived there with him. And I asked him what happened. I guess it was on a day that I was at my apartment. He told me that one day he wasn't feeling good, and he went out to the drugstore to get some medicine, and there she was. You can't argue or fight with that. There she was. So I let him have it. I just got my rest of my stuff, and I just finally completely moved into my place. But I'm telling y'all, I know a lot of people ain't gonna want to hear this. Even being married, nothing is guaranteed. Because if you got a husband or a wife and they say they miserable or they say they outgrown you, they could go out even though you've put in 20 and 30 years in a relationship, like on a job. Time does not matter. It does not matter how long you've been with somebody. It don't matter. They could turn around and meet the love of their life, and your ass is done. You gone. Men have been walking off, leaving their kids, leaving their wives, have 4 or 5 kids. They'll walk off and leave her because they had an outer body experience. They'll marry this person. They'll stay married to him forever. Some of them, like I said, depending on what they're looking for, they thought the grass was greener on the other side. They'll go out and think that they got the right somebody. And that doesn't work. And then they'll turn around and spend their whole life looking for you and somebody else. They try to come back to you. You don't want them no more the way they done you. Didn't even put a 2 weeks notice in with your ass. Just get your shit and get the fuck out. See, I understand this. But I just want y'all to stay in the know, because nobody's safe with papers or without papers. If somebody is miserable, they miserable. And at some point, if they're so miserable, they're going to break down and decide what's the best thing for them to do. Like, some people don't want to keep living this lie. Some people are sorry they led you on and they misled you. Some people are sorry they used you. But it's about them now. They got what they need. And it's a hurtful, painful situation. But at the same time, you don't want nobody there with you that don't want to be there with you. Come on now. You don't want to be with somebody. Your mind is here with me. Your body's here with me. But your mind is on the other side of town. You're messing me around. Don't you? I don't know if you're going to be the one to get hurt. Or I don't know if you're the one that's going to do the hurting. But either way, get prepared, because if you're the one that's going to do the hurting, chances are you've been the one hurting. You see what I'm saying? And if you are going to be the one that gets hurt, then chances are, I know you hate to hear this, you need to be hurt, because you don't need to be around somebody that keeps hurting you and hurting you because they're hurt. Because they want something else. When it happens, with all your might, I know I wish it was that easy to tell you stay off their phone, don't call them, because you're going to fight for it. Regardless, you're going to fight for it. But after you get tired of fighting for it, let it go. You're going to find out that was the best thing that ever happened to you. Whether you find new love in yourself or God sends you a new person to love, I don't know. But somebody's about to make a move. And if they're not happy, then there's no need of sitting there. I mean, like I said, they probably feel guilty why they haven't made a move in all this time. But now, where I'm standing at looking, they're thinking about what all they put up with, and somebody, you could have been the problem. I don't know how this is going, but I just know something finna hit, and it could hit like in a 3-way, like a cross. I don't know.